and welcome to Keep It Locked with me, Simon Hill, as always. Hope you're all good out there. Before we head into this next episode, make sure you're following Keep It Locked across social media on Twitter at Keep It Locked Pod. Across social media is me as well, Simon H. Official across Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and all that noise. We've also got some brand new merch out there, special podcast, Keep It Locked merch. I know, we're going all out with this one. So head over to Pins and Knuckles, make sure you grab yourself an awesome little t-shirt. More on guests coming real soon. I've got some exciting ones lined up that I can't wait to share with you. But until then, we'll get on with this one. This one is a very awesome episode with A-Kid of NXT UK. Such a great guy, a real talent in the ring and out of the ring, and one of those who's very passionate about everything that he's achieved so far. We look at everything from, that sad time in his career where he almost quit wrestling at the age of 20, but then he had that awesome match with Ricochet. That changed his entire career. We talk about that match as well as his infamous, hard-hitting, impactful match against Pete Dunne, and how he's finding life at WWE with NXT UK. He fought his idol, someone he idolised, and just everything. There's so much more. I'm just going to keep talking and blabbering on. But why not just enjoy the episode? This is A-Kid of NXT UK, and it's an awesome episode, so check it out right now. So yes, as I said, super excited to get A-Kid on. Dude, all the way from Madrid, how are you? Thank you for joining me. Life's different now, right?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, everything is kind of opening. I just went and get a little tan myself, so yeah, life seems to get back to normal as soon as possible, so that's great. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Pretty much the same as yourself. Been missing wrestling, been missing backstage, but these interviews have been keeping me busy. So, it's all good. And I've been playing a lot of PlayStation, which we're going to talk about later because you're a huge gaming
Definitely.
nerd like myself. So, we'll get into that a little later. But, Aiken, I want to go back to you as a wrestler. You've had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of, really good times and really sad times in many respects. So I want to cover all of that in this interview. But we'll start with the good. You began your career at White Wolf in Spain, didn't you? How was it when you were younger, sort of going into the wrestling business, blind almost, and going, right, how do I become a wrestler?
All right, so obviously the first time I discovered wrestling, I didn't really know what wrestling was. I just thought it was like kind of a movie. So I remember, I've always been a huge fan of comic books and superheroes in general. So I picked a Goldberg action figure, which had a tape with it. And yeah, it was just like a WCW episode, but I didn't know that. I thought it was a movie. And it was like Rey Mysterio, Goldberg, all these people. And I just watched it like every day. Like I kept on watching it, thinking it was just like a series or something. And then it came back to Spain because we didn't have it on TV. So when it came back, I was just hooked instantly. Like, all right, if this is real, like if I can go and watch this live, that's amazing. If I can do it, I want to do that. I want to be like those people. And as you said, blindly, I just texted a promotion I discovered via like a blog, and just went there with my parents, and I was like 10 years old, so you can imagine how frightened they were and everything. But yeah, I just went there. There was not really a professional wrestler coming from Spain. Like there's never been one. In the past, like 70s and 60s, there were Spanish wrestlers, but they'll just get lost somewhere, and we didn't have them to kind of teach us. So blindly, a couple of friends opened it, and the rest is history. Like just teaching ourselves and trying to be better every day.
That's such an amazing way to look at things. So obviously, there wasn't a professional figure that you had to teach off, and then eventually, where you would kind of own your craft would be, that's where you get the more authority figure. So as you were teaching yourself, you were learning these bumps, learning these moves, putting yourself through excruciating workouts. What was it like then to step into the ring with a professional teaching you how to, become a more refined athlete, I guess?
So, I mean, I remember my first seminars were online. Like, I actually texted promotions. Like, for example, I remember one promotion in Portugal had a seminar with Pete Dan. So I'm like, hey, can I please have this seminar? Like, just a video. It's only for myself, just to learn. So that's how I kind of discovered how wrestling worked. Um, Obviously, traveling helped me a lot. The first time I traveled was to Portugal, and I was able to know fantastic wrestlers that taught me how the business worked and how I had to improve all my stuff so I could one day be a wrestler. And I would say my first real contact with a wrestling figure would be like probably Angelico or Chuck Taylor, who did a seminar in Barcelona. That was like mind blowing to me. Like I remember they were huge on PWD at the time, and yeah, just getting to meet them and getting to pick their brains was just fantastic.
I can only imagine. And you had quite the journey at White Wolf Wrestling. After making your debut, you won multiple championships at White Wolf as well, including the heavyweight championship, didn't you? What was it like for you to carry all of that responsibility on your shoulders, such a young age? I mean, you're still, what, 23? So already from the age of 17 until now, you had such a big responsibility at White Wolf Wrestling.
So the first time I got a championship, it was 2017, I think, around April. Everything huge in White Wolf happens in April because it's the big show, so everything's gonna be in April. But I had a match against my teacher, like the guy that taught us how to bump, how to do moves, and all that stuff. And he was retiring that day, so that was his final match. And the whole story of the match was whoever won was able to continue wrestling, but if you lost, you have to retire. So I mean, it was pretty good because I was very young. So if I lost, I was like in shock. But I wanted to do that just to get the title. So it was very very good storyline for the time. And when I won that and then defended it next show, I was terrified. Like I think it was one of the worst matches in a lot of time. It was just my fault because I wasn't ready to be a champion. Like I can say that now. So then I asked for them to get the title off me because I didn't want that pressure. Then I had this match against Ricochet, which went very, very well. And then I felt like I could be in that position again. And after that, I kind of took a challenge on myself to make that title run the best in White Wolf history. And I mean, I'm really happy with it. So
I want to talk about that match with Ricochet. So there's a little bit of a sad story behind this part, is that you were heavily considering quitting wrestling at the time. You were still very young, but you didn't feel like there was much for you to succeed in the Spanish scene at the time, amongst other personal things. But talk to me why that decision, was going through your head. Like, what was going through your head? How did, you come to the decision that you weren't going to quit wrestling?
I mean, obviously, the match I was talking about with my teacher had a big influence in that. Like, I got injured pretty badly. I think it's the only major injury I've ever had. Like, I tore my back muscle, and I literally couldn't walk for like months. I was going to school still, so it was pretty rough. And like, my family started asking questions like, "Are you gonna do this like for a long time? Because I mean, you see how bad it is going." I'm like, I don't know, man. I mean, I love to do this, but I mean, if it's gonna be like this, I don't want it. Then I had this match I was talking about. I felt terrible, and I just thought, right, this is not for me. Like, I'm not good at it. I just no one in Spain is good at it, so let's just study something, or I don't know, do something with my life. And then this opportunity came, like the booker at the time in Wild Wolf asked me if I could wrestle Ricochet, and I was like, sure, all right, I'll do it, yeah. But I mean, it was my girlfriend, the one that convinced me to do it. Like she was like, all right, you're gonna quit anyway, so I mean, just do this match, and if it goes wrong, you quit. That's the worst thing that can happen. Like one more match, but if it goes well, then maybe you can do something else. So yeah, bless her for that.
And after that match, Ricochet had some very, very nice things that nice words for you after that match that probably helped you, think that this is what you want to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it was like a dream, man. Like I couldn't believe anything that happened that day. Like it's one of the entrances that are in my head. Like every time I think of like a superstar, I think of that entrance in Madrid of Ricochet. It was just like wild. I remember even getting out of the ring just to watch like people reacting to everything he did, how he moved. It was just, oh man, this is great. And then the match was well. He after the match he took the mic and talked to me, and I was just like, oh, I don't want to miss this. Like I'm gonna keep doing this until I die, basically, because it is the best.
Such a cool story, and to know that you had that experience with Ricochet and your girlfriend, who is also a wrestler, say to you that, look, maybe just give this a shot first, and now we've got you here at WWE NXT UK, so it all works out, man. It all works out. I want to talk about a match with your girlfriend Sarah Leon. You recently put on Twitter that this match changed your entire career. Why was this match so impactful for you at the time?
Okay, it's really, I mean, it's really difficult to know how a wrestler feels if you're not a wrestler, like before wrestling. But I didn't know how a fan, like a family member felt, or like a very close friend felt before their friend wrestled, if that makes any sense. So every time Sarah wrestles, I'm just like way more nervous than when I wrestle. I'm concerned about everything going well for her, like not getting injured and all that stuff. So when I wrestled her, it was like the most pressure I've ever had inside the ring, because I wanted everything to go well. I wanted her to be safe, and I mean, it was just like very, very different to everything I had done before. And then when we were in the ring, it was just magical. Like, I mean, I know her obviously because she's my girlfriend, like for many years, but inside that ring is so different and so similar at the same time. It's just wonderful. Like, I think it's something only a wrestler couple can experience, and it's one of the best feelings I've ever felt.
It's so cool. Bless her. She's going to be watching this thinking, oh, he's sweet after all. Plenty of import talent have came over to White Wolf. Obviously, we spoke about Ricochet. There was also an infamous match you had with Pete Dunne as well, wasn't there? Talk me through that experience, because I know Pete can be sometimes very physical in the ring, but he's just a wealth of knowledge. So talk me through that experience.
I mean, I love those kind of matches. Like, I love matches to be physical. That's my cup of tea in wrestling. So when I had this match, I had just signed with NXT UK. So, I mean, it was just Pete has been always my reference, and I've always wanted to wrestle him. Ever since I wrestled him the first time I went to the UK, I mean, I didn't wrestle him in a singles match, but I kind of had like a teaser of what could be, and I just wanted like a full singles match, and now I have it in White Wolf. The setting is perfect, so I think that's the match that I enjoyed the most in my whole career. Like, it was just two people, just doing what they love and doing it without with all the freedom in the world for a crowd that appreciated it, and he has taught me so much in that match. Like, I mean, it's hard to say it to someone who's not like in that ring, but
Yeah.
he is the way he does things, the way he like the little things. He's just so good at it, and I mean, I wish I could wrestle him for the rest of my life, basically.
So hopefully, now that you're both in WWE, maybe there'll be a shot in the future. Who knows?
Yeah.
That rematch. um, another person who, now I know that this person's very important to your career in terms of in ring ability, but there was so much that went on in this match. A match with Zack Sabre Jr. There's a funny story behind this, but it's a match that meant so much to you. Tell us why.
Well, obviously, it doesn't mean a lot to me because he forgot his gear, which is a very good story, though. But yeah, I think he saw something in me that no one else had seen before. So he trusted me with a ring style that I had never done before, like this technical style that now I do almost in all my matches. I have never really been able to do it with anyone before with Zack Sabre Jr. So he took that chance and he just changed my whole career because that's the thing I want to do for the rest of my life. I think, I mean, obviously with some little changes in like my style basically, but technical wrestling at that level is what I love doing. And he was the one that took the bet on me, and I think we created magic that day in White Wolf. Then obviously, months later, it got like a very good review by Dave Meltzer and everything, and that changed my career on another level. Like promoters started taking bets on me in independent level. Like I remember Ref Pro giving me like a lot of chances. Many a weekend like went complete. So yeah, I mean he changed my career.
And again, that match I believe is available on YouTube, isn't it? I think, and it's a very, very good match. As far as the technical style that Zach had taught you throughout that match and that you'd picked up on, what was it like, kind of being in the ring and going through these move sets, going through these various transitions with a style that you're not particularly accustomed to?
It was so weird. Like it was. I felt like learning at the same time I was wrestling him. So like you can actually, I mean, if you watch the match now, that's why I sometimes cringe a lot when I watch it. Uh, you can see how my brain reacts to stuff like, oh, I should do this. It's just like natural wrestling. I'm wrestling him for real, like just actually thinking about everything because I've never done it before. But obviously he's one of the wrestlers that I've always watched, always studied. So I basically knew almost everything he did, and I think that's why I could keep the pace with him.
Absolutely. And, there was that story. So he forgot his gear and ended up in just like boxing shorts almost, weren't they?
Yeah.
But apparently, the crowd, thought that added to the story almost.
Definitely, he was hated. I mean, he was really hated because of it. Like, he was like, he didn't take it seriously for the people. Because the only perspective they had was when Ricochet came. And he was just quite the opposite. He was just like this superstar, all dressed up, wonderful to the fans, big smile on their face. And this one was just like the opposite. He was just like telling people stuff and killing me in the ring. So yeah, they hated him and they loved me. So that's great.
Well, that made for a very contrasting match. Talk to me about Team White Wolf with your tag partner Carlos Romo. Now, you guys have been in the ring as singles competitors as well as a tag team, winning championships all over.
Yeah, as you said, we started being rivals in White Wolf because I mean, for me, he was the next guy to do what I did with Ricochet, with Saber. It was clear, like he was the next star in White Wolf. So it was his idea right after the match with Ricochet to travel because he was in a band, he was a musician, so he knew how to like contact people and travel and stuff. We were like, yeah, you should definitely do this. You should definitely travel. and try to make a name in the UK, which is pretty hot at the moment. And I was like, oh, I don't know, man. All right, why don't you come with me? So you take my name now that I have the match with Ricochet, because obviously that's going to attract a lot of promotions. But you come with me and you take that as well. We're like, all right. We didn't want to be a tag team. We just wanted to wrestle in the same place. And then promoters started booking us as a tag team. So we went like, all right, maybe we should find a name. Team White Wolf, yeah, because we're both from White Wolf and we're a team. So it worked for us. And yeah, the rest, I remember when we won the attack titles, it was just surreal to win that with a friend. And I don't know, we wrestled all over Europe and even the States. We just wrestled everywhere we dreamt about wrestling. So it's just a wonderful experience I got to share with him.
And you have both gone up against some of the best in the world, the Lucha Bros, British Strong Style, Grizzled Young Vets, just to name a few. If you guys could go up against any tag team right now, who would it be?
Oh, that's a very tough question. I don't know. Obviously the ones you mentioned, I would love to wrestle them again. I remember a match with CCK, Jonathan Gresham and Brooks. I would love to wrestle Chris Brooks and Lycos. That's the only match I wish I had in a proper tag team, because I wrestled them in 3-ways and stuff like that. But I really wish we could have done that. When we were a tag team, I was Lycos was in the business.
Yeah, and Chris Brooks is killing it over in Japan at DDT right now, isn't he? So
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe there'll be an opportunity somewhere where both of you guys clash again, and we can get that tag team match going. Now you signed for NXT, signed for WWE with NXT UK, October 17th, 2017. You'd make your debut then. A few weeks later, against someone who used to watch religiously, Kassius Ohno. What was it like, first of all, getting that call for WWE, and secondly, being able to step in the ring on your full singles competitor debut with someone like Kassius Ohno?
Okay, so for the first question, you have to think how my life was at that moment. I was constantly traveling to the UK to wrestle with Carlos. That was the weekends. So the rest of the week was me just working as a teacher, which I don't hate it, but I don't really like it either. Like it's not my dream job. So my daily basis was just working as much as I could to get some money to travel, and then get to travel and basically no sleep for 3 days just to repeat the whole cycle. When I get this call by WWE, obviously I'm going to wrestle for the best company in the world, and then I'm going to stop doing that, stop working every day in a job that I don't really like, and start working on like my wrestling abilities and my physique, my mentality. Like I could study wrestling again. That was great. It was just one of these moments where your life changes. I remember how I talked to Sarah right after I got the email. I was like, look at this. And she was just like so happy as well. It was just one of these magical moments where like, all right, we kind of made it. Everything I was working hard for, like now it gets a payoff. So it was great. And then, as you said, I was working for them like dark matches for a couple of shows, training and everything. And they told me I was ready to start, and I was like, all right. The last thing I've done with them was like 5-minute matches and like tag teams and stuff like that. So I didn't expect anything big. And they were like, no, it's big. I'm like, all right, what is it? And it's like, yeah, you're wrestling Kassius Ohno, singles match, and you're over. And I'm like, what? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I read. And then I think it has a lot to do with the same match with Ricochet. Like it felt like a dream. The same thing. Like I remember vividly being in the ring, seeing the WWE turnbuckles, and then Cassius music starts, just looking at him getting his way into the ring. It was just like, am I awake? Like, is this for real, man? Wonderful.
Wow. And Chris is such a great worker in the ring, isn't he? And he's one of those, was that a match you were able to learn things from Chris with, as well as just, go through that incredible feeling of this is my singles debut on NXT TV, did you manage to learn from him as well?
Yeah, I always try to. Even when we were in the PC, every time he holds a class, I'm there. Every time he watches a match, I try to watch it with him, just to pick his brain, because that's how I learned how to wrestle. Like, just trying to. One of the online seminars I took that we were talking about, one of them was by Kassius Ohno. It was just him talking for like 2 or 3 hours, doing a couple of chain wrestling stuff. So just being able to share the ring with him, that was an opportunity I couldn't miss. And I remember, like, I felt like at school being in that ring, and it was the first time I was comfortable inside a WWE ring. So obviously, it's the same. You're wrestling, but the pressure is like, it's WWE, it's TV, it's it's a little bit different. But with him, it just felt like the same thing I had been doing from like half of my life, basically. So I took that. I think that's the most I took from him. Like, you know how to do this, just do it and enjoy it while you can. So.
And you managed to win as well and get the victory on your singles competitor debut. And you would just go from strength to strength, but you would step in the ring with somebody who you almost idolized. You had, taken various influences from this man, the Brian Kendrick. And that match was incredible. But, I can't imagine the feeling you were going through when you stepped in the ring with Brian Kendrick after almost idolizing his work over the years.
Yeah, he was someone I grew up watching, like, for real, on TV. I still have his action figure. So yeah.
Have you told him
true.
this?
I don't think so. But yeah, it was just like, again, one of these moments, like, how can you trust me to be in that position? I'm so grateful. And just, as I said, try to learn the most out of it. Try to, like, see how he thinks, see how he connects some dots that I wasn't able to connect. And obviously, but when I had that match, it was like my, I don't know, 5th or 6th match in TV. So I had some experience already, so I wasn't as nervous as I was with Cassius. So I could enjoy it way more. And I remember it like a very, very good match, and I'm very grateful again for that match. And I really hope I can wrestle both of them again.
Fingers crossed, because both those matches are incredible. Obviously, you can see them on the WWE Network. Now, one thing that you've been heavily associated with, one person, sorry, been heavily associated with since being in NXT UK is Tyler Bate. I've heard that obviously you guys have trained together. He taught you a few things and kind of took you under his wing. Like, what's the relationship like with someone like Tyler Bate, who, in my opinion, is just a freak of nature when it comes to being an in-ring competitor. He's in a league of his own, that man. Unbelievable. So what's the relationship with you guys?
I think, it's not very personal. Like, we're not, like, we don't talk to each other or anything. It's just like, I think he's just an example for everyone in NXT UK, like, how hard he works. I remember the first time I trained in the NXT UK PC. When I saw him training, I was like, oh, I have to step up. I have to change my game, because this guy is my age and he's doing this. So I have to be his level. So I trained so hard to get that. And then in 1 month, he's in a different level, like so higher. And we're like, all right, let's get back to work again. So I think that's great to have in any roster, like someone like him. He's just, like, as you said, a freak of nature. and he's just very hard worker as well. So when you mix those two things, you get someone as special as him.
Absolutely, absolutely. And besides obviously WWE at the moment, you've had some great matches there. Obviously, not just with the likes of Tyler Bate, Kassius Ohno, and Brian Kendrick, but Joseph Connors, Noam Dar, Jack Stars, Ilya Dragunov, which was a surprise match for you, wasn't it, that one? But again, one of those that was incredibly physical.
Yeah, that was a very special moment because a lot of people don't know this, but that match was supposed to be a dark match, which means it's not gonna be on TV or it's not gonna be shown to the audience worldwide. It's just for the people to enjoy in the live show. But I mean, it was the first time Ilja and I wrestled, so I think we both wanted to go like full and do everything we could. And that's how we took it, and we had like the match we wanted to have. People reacted so well to it, and yeah, it was just like this moment. Like you can actually see after the match when me is smiling, which is a very very rare thing to see. Yeah, I was just like happy to have that, happy to have suffered that pain and then have that match. Yeah, and then obviously because of this situation, they decided to show it in the network, which was great, so everyone could watch it.
I would definitely recommend anybody to get on the WWE Network and search for that match as well. It is so physical, and you guys are clearly there trying to, or it almost looks like you're trying to outdo each other with the physicality because it's so good. But yeah, I would definitely advise anyone to check that out on the network for sure. When programming returns, is there anybody in particular that you are itching to get in the ring with?
I mean, I would really like to have a rematch against Noam Dar because I think the way he won was not very cool. Like, I think we could have like a very good match, but he decided to take a shortcut. Pretty much anyone. Anyone I haven't worked with, I would like to work with that person because I genuinely believe everyone in the NXT UK roster is amazing to watch and to work with. And yeah, the ones I've already wrestled, again, all of them, I would like to wrestle them again. I'm so happy to share a roster with those people.
It's a great roster, and so many talented young stars on there as well, and veterans as well. So, yeah, I really can't wait to see where you're going to go with WWE, dude. I think programming hopefully will return pretty soon. I know there's conversations going on, so we'll see you back on our network pretty soon, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully.
I mean, as soon as I've read, travel, like whenever we travel within Europe now, we don't have to do the quarantine. So hopefully things are moving forward, and hopefully soon we will be able to get back to what we do and we love.
Yeah, fingers crossed, dude. Now, I want to do some fun facts because there's a lot people don't know about AKID. I've already kind of scratched the surface with you being a qualified maths teacher. So we'll go on to the more geeky side. I'm a fellow geek, but
right.
you took it one step further. You were a professional Yu-Gi-Oh player.
Well, I mean, I wasn't professional because I didn't really earn money with it, but it was like a very strong hobby. I will say that. I was the 20th best Yu-Gi-Oh player in Spain at some point in my life. So that was, yeah.
Wow. So do you have like the full? It's an expensive habit, dude, isn't it? It's a very expensive habit. So did you have the full packs and collect the cards throughout?
No, I had the right friends. I didn't have any. I didn't have any money to buy all the cards. So I had friends that were obviously older than me and could afford them, and they let me play with some decks and just try stuff. So I was fortunate to have that, and then obviously after Yu-Gi-Oh, I tried playing Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
And again, that's a very very expensive hobby, but I was able to basically play any deck I wanted because I have the right friends.
Okay, so when we eventually cross paths, dude, you're gonna have to teach me how to play Magic because I've tried, but I just can't get it.
Okay, deal.
I need the idiot's guide too. But besides being, the 20th best Yugo player in Spain at one point in your career, you're also a huge gamer. Now, just for some context here, guys. So Akid has been lighting up my phone for the last 2 weeks, going, "Where are you on Last of Us? How far have you got on Last of Us?" So we're going to try and do this spoiler-free, if at all possible. But besides the Yugo, you're a massive gamer. Recently getting into The Last of Us. You're not massive on your story games usually, but this one's really drawn you in, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the kind of guy that skips the scenes most of the time in the games because I love like gameplays, but I don't really want to be sitting there just watching a movie. To do that, I usually watch a movie. I remember The Witcher 3 being one of the games I actually watched the whole story, which is a long one.
Yeah,
and then I remember also God of War, the last one, and this one. Hooked, like it was just surreal. I think it's one of those games that changed the whole perspective of gaming forever.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think some of the exclusives that Sony have had over the last few years have been absolutely unbelievable. But I've not quite completed Last of Us, but you have, so you've seen the full story. And Akid said to me last night on message, I could do the biggest heel turn on this podcast and just spoil it.
I have that power in my hand right now, but I'm not gonna do it.
Thank you.
It's all right.
So you've got through The Last of Us. You've really enjoyed that. You've told me it's probably one of your favourite story games so far. But what's next? What are you going to start playing after The Last of Us?
I'm playing now Horizon because I didn't play it when it came out. And I'm really enjoying it. It kind of feels like a Breath of the Wild, but obviously with the graphical power of PS4. And it looks great. I mean, I don't think it's going to be as good as The Last of Us, but it's going to be a very good game.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. I'm really looking forward to it. So, a friend sent me a copy only a week ago with all the DLC because I haven't played it. I don't know how I've missed it. It's just one of those that I skipped. So, yeah, after I've finished Last of Us 2, I'm going to jump on Horizon myself. PS5 or Series X?
Oof. I just bought a gaming PC because I wanted to game while I travel, like for the future. So I don't know if I'm gonna buy it at launch, but probably it's gonna be PS5.
Good decision. We're going to split the entire audience here. Like it's going to be like 50% heat and 50% people are disagreeing with us. So yeah, this will be an interesting episode for sure. And before I let you go, Akid, who would you like to have wrestled, but from the '90s era? If they were around now, who would you have liked to be in the ring with?
It would be Bret Hart. Either Bret or Owen. Those are like from my perspective, the best wrestlers to ever live. Like, just so good, so far ahead of the time. Like, it's my kind of like for me, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 12 is the best match in the world. Like, there's nothing like it. Like, for me, that's the peak of professional wrestling. So yeah, I mean, being able to wrestle Bret, it would be amazing.
Who knows? You may be able to recreate that in your career. You're still only 23, so who knows? But Akid, thank you so much for joining me on Keep It Locked, and I really appreciate you giving your time. I know you're a busy man, especially with NXT UK starting up again slowly. So I really appreciate your time, and I've really enjoyed this interview. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me, Simon. Thank you.